Yes, greetings. Dr. Njagede is my name once again, and thank you very much for listening to me, my audience. Yes, I have been greeted with an important question. This question has actually generated a lot of controversies within the talent management space and work environment. What is this question? What is the purpose? And what are the issues around it in the contemporary time and across the world? Now the question is job interview and interrogation. Well, it's so big a question, but I'm going to offer some insightful guidelines, in particular for my years of experience in people management, organizational behavior. First and foremost, we need to understand what is an interview, what is an interrogation, the differences between interrogation and interview, the goals and the purpose of interrogation and interview, and finally the techniques adopted in interrogation and interview. But prior to that, it is important for me to clarify that the scope of this question that I'll be answering is basically on the area of job placement. It focuses on how should a job interview be conducted and what are the major guidelines that should guide it as you look at the purpose and its objective. Once again, Dr. Njagede is my name. Now, before I answer the question of is an interview and interrogation, we need to identify why do organizations need talent? Excuse me. You may call it talent. You may call it people. You may call it whatever name. It doesn't matter whatever name we choose to call it. But when we have this underlying on clarity, it will help us to appreciate why do organizations source for candidates. Whether they source for candidates directly by themselves or they contract it to a recruiter or a job hunter. It doesn't matter. It's the objective that we are focusing on. Here is not for or against, but to guide particularly organizations and recruiters on what they need to understand about the guidelines behind job recruitment. As we proceed, I need to clarify importantly that an organization is an existing corporation. And because by law, it has what they call going concern, initiatives or interests. That is to say, the purpose why we exist as an organization is to continue to exist at least for a foreseeable period of time to be able to generate what? Values for our stakeholders. These stakeholders can be investors who have put out their resources. They want more money. They could be employees who want better career fulfillment and advancement. It could be government that want taxes from you so that they can develop the society and economy. It could be community that benefit from the activities of the organization. And it could be customers who want value for their worth and money. So as you look at all these stakeholders' expectations, why an organization exists, then you come back to understand that every corporation exists for a purpose to meet a need in the society. As a result of that, they understand and realize that they cannot do all this alone without having most important resource to drive it, and that is people. And therefore, that suggests that the purpose why organizations bring in people is to consolidate on their existence and investiture. Meaning when you bring in people, competent and qualified candidates or talent, they help you to achieve that overall goal that enables the corporation to be able to deliver value to investors, to employees, to customers, to community, and the government. So when you understand that, it therefore suggests that bringing in people to an organization is not a dash, it's not a favor. Rather, it is what? It's a symbiotic relationship that has to do on a contractual agreement. The labor law is clear on that understanding that giving me an offer, a job offer, is based on terms and conditions. That is, I have to deliver X, Y, Z, and I'm paid for it. Therefore, it is not a favor. So when that clarifies the ambiguity around job opportunities, organizations know that for them to get talent, it is like a fisherman who is going to pick fish or fishes in the river. It must be tactical. It must be smart. Why? He needs the fishes. Even though for him or for an employer, the employee also needs survivor. But who needs more most? The employer needs more because the employer makes more money from an employee. In fact, research shows that an employee only gets 10% of what they contribute. So it is clear that an employer is one that gains maximally and most in a contractual employment agreement. That therefore suggests that as an employer, you have to be tactful, smart, to be able to fish out a talent. To get a talent is like a fisherman who is looking for the best place to coast and to look for more fishes. How do you not get this talent? If you are not tactical, if you are not smart, if you are able to decipher, if you are not able to spot that this is a talent, it therefore confers on a recruiter or a job interviewer or an organization to be able to put in place necessary mechanism so that you don't lose this gold or this golden fish called talent. One of the most challenging critical aspects that has led to loss of talent or why many corporations are failing and dwindling is because they have failed to select, to identify, to attract the right talent. And this is largely as a result of poor mechanism or metrics or methods in selecting, attracting, and retaining best talent. One of such methods is what we call job interview. There have been a lot of pandemonium, confusions around selection process. Many have asked, what is the best method? Others have shared their bad experiences about how they are being interrogated, how they are being interviewed. In cases you have those who don't have experience about what job interview is all about. And this has also caused a lot of issues. Why many linger in getting right talent, others suffer re-attrition because they are attracting wrong talent. But what should we do as we look at the subject of is an interview and interrogation? My offering is to suggest, is to advise, is to guide over as a result of my years of experience as a practitioner in the field, having attracted people from several parts of the world and having worked in HR and OD for years. Now, let's look at the purpose and the goal. It is important for us to understand that whether you are doing an interview or you are doing an interrogation, all of them have one goal. What is that goal? The goal of both of them is to elicit information. And if that is the case, they that use this information to determine the outcome of their purposes and goals. So, let us go on to look at what is an interview. Now, let me say that one, an interview is designed to collect data, particularly job interview, to collect data, to collect insight, to collect information. And then we use that data and information that we elicit from the candidate to evaluate the subject. So that means the candidate's credibility and candidate's suitability for the purpose is intended for. Therefore, an interview is a non-accusatory manner. You don't accuse anybody. Because you only need data to help in substantiating your evidence that I think this is the candidate of choice based on the data you have elicited or insight you have gathered. It is also important to know that why interview, as I said, is designed to collect data and evaluate a subject's credibility. An interrogation is a primary suspect focus in its nature. You see, it focuses on suspect. Job doesn't focus on suspect. Job focuses on talent. Interview focuses on talents. It focuses on what? It focuses on employability, not suspect. It focuses on candidates. Why interview focuses on suspects? So job interview has the primary aim of attracting what? Talents. Interrogation has the primary aim of getting data from a suspect for criminal intent. An interrogation may be confrontational and accusatory in approach, which is used for suspect or criminal investigation. But for interview is a non-coercive and non-accusatory method used in attracting the right talent or candidate for your need. You don't frown your face when you are doing interview. You don't use derogatory languages. You don't use insultive language. You don't create tension for the candidate because you want to spot. Don't forget, I use the fisherman. He needs to pick the fish. So he's going to play along to be able to get the fish. So you need to calm down and allow the candidate to display. But when you use confrontations and coercive and accusatory, the candidate loses confidence in himself. And when he loses confidence in himself, he's not able to display his real identity. Therefore, the candidate loses what they call authentic self. An interview, job interview, involves formal conversation conducted for the purpose of what? Of attracting right information that will be able to make a decision. So if you are not making the conversation to be formal and you are making it too tense or too casual, the candidate loses the sense of reality and genuineness. An interrogation is accusatory. It involves the systemic questioning of a person suspected of involvement in a crime for the purpose of obtaining a confession. An interview is an interactive session that involves also systemic questioning of a person or of a candidate, which involves eliciting the right question that enables or provides the framework that this is the right candidate suitable for the purpose. Job interview assesses candidate suitability for the role. Hence, there is no debate, and there's no criminality, and there's no bias beyond the scopes. So you don't say, I don't like you, or I hate you because you're a man, I hate you because you're a woman, I hate you because you're a Muslim, I hate you because you're a Christian, I hate you because you're too short, I hate you because you're too tall, I hate you because you're a stammer. You don't bring all those biases and sentiments in job interview. Interrogation aims to verify already gathered information. That's why you're asking that. This is what we have found out about you. Reveal the truth in a more structured and sometimes confrontational environment. That's what interrogation does. But for interview, you have not gathered. Whatever you have as background are not sufficient because you are yet to meet the candidate. You have only seen the CV, so you now want to compare the person you are seeing with the CV. So it is not confrontational. It is what? It is interactive. In fact, you can use what you call appreciative inquiry. You are appreciatively, and that's why even when the candidate is failing, you don't give him that impression that you are failing, because once you show, the person becomes tense. You're not saying you don't know this thing. No. Even if he's giving you fake answer, you say, okay, noted, thank you. Thank you so much. All right, thank you. Do you mean this? You don't say, you are wrong. You are not correct. You don't say that. Because it is not an interrogation. Your role is to assess suitability only. Even if the candidate is presenting fake document, it is not for you to go into criminal prosecution. Your role is to say, okay, we have noted that this guy is giving us fake information. His data is not correct. His address is not correct. His age is not correct. Yours is not to say, I put it to you, you are lying. That is not your role. If you do that, you are going into interrogation. Your role is to say, okay, sir, thank you so much. We have heard you and we will get back to you if need be. So if it's not suitable, you quit. If it's suitable, you proceed. But yours is not to go into interrogatory engagement. Interrogation is also a process of asking someone a lot of questions for a long period in order to get information, sometimes using threats or violence. You can use a lot of time too to get more data, more insight. But in interview, you are not going to threaten the person. And you're not going to use force or violence. In fact, you are smiling. Your face will be attractive. Your face must allow them to hear and to speak more, so that nothing is even hidden. That is why it is important to be able to explore interviewing techniques as against exploring interrogatory techniques. Also, interrogation questions are always intense. Interview questions are always interactive. You want it to keep on speaking and be calm, not tense. You are not frowning your face. You are not confronting. You are not doubting him. Even if you have doubt, you just keep that to yourself. I want to say that there is similarity between the two. Why? Or what is it? Even though both of them have differences, they have one goal. The goal is to elicit information. But there are techniques you find in interrogation that you don't find in interview. What are these techniques? Number one, you have what you call direct confrontation. In interview, you don't directly confront. Two, in interrogation, you have dominance. You put yourself in the ownership. In fact, in most cases, you just want to respond to what you say. Just give me an answer. But in an interview, the candidate even has the right to ask questions too. In fact, in interrogation, you do more of talking. In interview, you do more of listening. Because your selection is based on your ability to listen carefully to the responses. Don't have prejudice, don't have biases. Have the ear that listens carefully to the candidate's expressions, tones, words, manner, method. In interrogation, you also use deflection. You use turning objections into justifications. Just to what? Just to bamboozle, the suspect. You use expressing empathy. But for interview, you don't use empathy. Empathy here, expressing empathy here means that you don't pity the candidate to get the job. No. You only share concern about the person. Maybe he struggles to get there because of traffic or he couldn't locate it. You show that one. But that does not affect your subject, your objection in taking decisions about suitability. Oh, sorry, because it's an offer and I give it a job. You are not giving the job because it's an offer. You are giving the job because it's an offer who can also translate his experience into the results. You are not giving a job because he's disabled. You are giving because he's disabled and yet he's still able to prove that he's not disabled and he can do something. That's why. So when you now come to interview, what you have constructive questioning. Your questioning are not informed by prejudice or bias. They are informed by what? The role you want to fill. And your questioning must be appealing, not frightening. You use appreciative inquiry, meaning you are not confrontative, you are not arguing, you are not fighting, you are not shouting. You use less tensional and non-suspicious methods, and finally non-argumentative. If you ask the candidate, I say 1 + 1 is 2, and I say, are you really sure? He say, yes. You're in it. You don't say no, this and that. So it is important that as we attract candidates, don't forget, why do you need this candidate? You need this candidate to take your company higher. Not getting the candidate means you will not be able to take a company higher. Therefore, you have to be very smart and position yourself in a way that you don't make interview interrogative. And at the same time, you have to give the candidate the best platform that enables them. That's why before you start your job interview, you just you get the environment relaxed. Good morning, how are you? How was the journey? And how did you get there? By the way, I love your shirt. Say, oh, thank you, sir. Why? You are trying to help the candidate to relax their nerves because it's tension. It's normal in an interview. And two, you create an environment. Do you need a cup of water? Oh no, I'm fine. Oh, that's good. Apologies for keeping you waiting. We are very sorry. Oh, no problem. Is to relax the candidate emotions and to take away tension. And that's why when you are asking your questions, and you see that candidate is losing the confidence, you realize, say, calm down. I'm a human being, okay? So don't be tense. Look at me also like a human being too. It's very important that as an interviewer, do not make it an interrogation. Do not be confrontational. Relax. Don't do as if you are doing the candidate a favor. It is not a favor. In fact, if you look at it carefully, the candidate is the one that is going to give you the biggest opportunity. Why? Because when you bring it, it's going to add more. Attracting talent is not easy. But when you adopt a more simple, nimble approach, such as interviewing techniques, you will win. As again being confrontational. Thank you so much. I hope this helps.